Reading is a multitasking activity that does not come naturally. It is not a talent, but it's a skill to be taught and practiced regularly. Read. The basic things you need for teaching your child are phonics flashcards, decodable storybooks, writing materials, and tricky words flashcards. The steps that will be involved in teaching include letter sound with identification, the letter formation, blending of the words, segmenting the words, and tricky words. So let's start with letter sound and identification. With phonics, we start by teaching letter sounds and not letter names, because when you do that and you teach letter names, you confuse the child. So the starting point is usually the letter sounds with the identification, and specifically lowercase letters, not the uppercase. You can buy flashcards or make your own, preferably with black letters on white background. At this stage, you teach the child how to identify these letter sounds, and you can start by teaching the first five short vowels, which is a, e, o, a. Then in addition to that, you teach the single consonant sounds, which will be the remaining 21 letters of the English alphabet. Teaching the letter sounds does not need to follow the order in the English alphabet, but it is also recommended to teach sounds that are continuous in their sound. Letters like f, s, because these ones have prolonged sounds and they are the easiest to blend. When you have drilled these sounds with the flashcards, you can also make a chart which would have these letters written, and then you can point at the letters randomly to make sure that your child can recognize them, not necessarily in the order, but when seen randomly. When the child has mastered these letter sounds, they are also expected to form the letters as they are learning each sound. So when you're teaching A, for instance, the child is supposed to learn to form the letter, the letter sound A, so that it's imprinted in his memory. As he's seeing the letter, he's also printing it. As soon as the child identifies this letter sound well, you move on to blending. You start with blending two letters, or what we call VC blends, that is vowel consonant. So you take a vowel and a consonant and you blend them together. Or if you prefer, you can start with the consonant and a vowel, or of course the short vowel. So example would be a and n will be an, then b plus a will be ba. So the child gets to drill those letter combinations, and then when that is mastered, you move on to the three-letter blend, or what we also call the CVC. In that case, like the A-N that I mentioned earlier, it then becomes, you can add a letter in front. Let's say the sound f. So that becomes fan. Or if you're using the consonant and vowel like ba, just add the t at the end and it becomes bat. So when you allow the child to blend without pausing, so you don't get a choppy reader, it makes it easier. And because those letters are also prolonged, like the fan, it's easier to blend. As the child learns to blend, he also learns to do what we call segmenting, which is the foundation for spelling. When a child can identify each phoneme of the word, which phoneme is the same thing as sound, he should also be able to segment them, that is, break them apart. So when a child can sound fan, he should be able to identify the f, the a, and the n in that word. So you have fan. At this point, the child should be able to read decodable sentences like a bat on a mat. The next thing the child needs to learn are the tricky words, which we might call sight words or high frequency words. So the words for this stage will be words like I, the, was, to, no, good. These are words that the child would encounter in reading basic words. So when the child, these words are taught with flashcards as well and the chart, so that the child gets drilled in it. And of course, like the other previous skills, as he's learning to read it, he's also learning to write it. And when this is down and mastered, the child then begins to read decodable words. It's important to have decodable words because when a child is given words that are based on whole word system, or what we call look and say, it can actually be difficult for some children who are better off being able to form and break down words and not necessarily having to cram those words. Thank you so much for this, for listening in, and I hope that this video was helpful. And if you have any comments or questions, let me know in the comment section. So see you in the next video, courageous homeschoolers. Don't forget to like and subscribe.